Today's message is entitled An Encounter with God. Sometimes God takes us through a crisis to help us see who we really are. Jacob tricked his brother Esau out of his birthright and used lies to get ahead in life. But when he met God, he wrestled with him and finally admitted that he was a cheater, he was a deceiver and a liar. After his confession, God changed his name to Israel. In this message, we see three life-changing lessons that Jacob and that we too need to learn today. It all starts with asking ourselves, who am I really in God's presence? Sometimes progress in our Christian life is very slow. Sometimes it takes a crisis to teach us who really God is and who we really are. And sometimes the crisis really help us. That is what we learn from the story of Jacob in Genesis chapter 32. Jacob and Esau were the sons of Isaac and Rebekah. They were twins. Jacob steals his birthright from Esau one day for a meal. Isaac is old and dying. His eyesight is almost gone and he can't recognize whether he is Jacob or Esau, and he blesses Jacob. And in this way, Jacob deceives his brother, takes his blessings, and after this is revealed, he flees to his uncle Laban, and there he lives for the next 7 years. When his father asked him, "Are you really Jacob?" when he brought the meal to him, 3 times he lied to his father and said that I am he. Esau was a hairy man, and Jacob had covered himself with the goatskin hair. And so the old man Isaac was deceived, and he blessed Jacob instead of Esau. Jacob ran away to Laban, and he lived there, married his daughter, and later on we find that Laban tricked his son-in-law. The one who tricks others is also deceived. He leaves Laban to go home. That is what we find in Genesis chapter 32 in the story of Jacob. And he leaves at midnight. On his way, he hears a rumor that his brother Esau is coming with 300 men to meet him. And then he sends his men ahead, and that is where the story begins. That brings us to Genesis chapter 32. Jacob does 2 things. If we read in Genesis 32 and verse 9. Then Jacob said, "O God of my father Abraham and God of my father Isaac, the Lord who said to me, 'Return to your country and to your family, and I will deal well with you.' I am not worthy of the least of all the mercies and of all the truth which you have shown to your servant. For I crossed over this Jordan with my staff, and now I have become 2 companies." And here listen to what he says in verse 11. "Deliver me, I pray, from the hand of my brother, from the hand of Esau, for I fear him, lest he come and attack me and the mother with the children." Because Jacob deceived his brother, there was animosity and anger between the 2 brothers. There was enmity. And Esau wanted to kill his brother Jacob. And that is the reason he fled. And now he hears a rumor that Esau is coming to meet him with 400 men. And he is afraid. And so he does first thing. 2 things he does. First, he prays in verses 9 to 11, which we just read. Second thing that he does is told us in verses 14 and 15. He sends 200 female goats and 20 male goats, 200 ewes and 21 rams, 30 milk camels with their colts, 40 cows and 10 bulls, 20 female donkeys and 10 foals. And then verses 19 and 20. And he commanded his people, the second and the third, and all who followed the drove, saying, In this manner you shall speak to Esau when you find him, and also say, Behold, your servant Jacob is behind us. For he said, I will appease him with the present that goes before me, and afterward I will see his face. Perhaps he will accept me. So first Jacob prays to God. Secondly, to appease his angry brother Esau, he sends gifts and presents with some men before him. And now we come to the real drama. He sends also his family ahead. If we read in verses 22 and 23, from 21 onwards we'll read. So the present went on over before him, but he himself lodged that night in the camp. And he arose that night and took 2 of his wives and 2 of his female servants and his 11 sons, and crossed over the ford of Jabbok. He took them, sent them over the brook, and sent over what he had. And here we see the real drama begins in verse 24. Then Jacob was left alone, and a man wrestled with him until the breaking of the day. He was left alone in the midnight. His family is gone before. All his men and women and children, everyone is gone ahead. And now he is left alone, he and God. And that night, it says, a man wrestled with him whole night. He had a mysterious encounter with someone. And Jacob thinks that he can win the match. He can wrestle with him and defeat him. But then something happens. Verse 25. Now when he saw that he did not prevail against him, he, that is the man who wrestled with Jacob, he touched the socket of his hip, and his socket, Jacob's hip, was out of joint as he wrestled with him. The person who wrestled with Jacob whole night, at the end, as it was breaking of the day, it was beginning to dawn. When he saw that he could not prevail, he touched his hip, and the hip was out of joint. And that ended the match. Jacob goes from wrestling to cleaving, because he realizes that that person with whom he has wrestled all night is not merely a man. Just one touch from him crippled Jacob. Suddenly Jacob realized that he was not a mere man, but he was actually wrestling with an angel of God, with a divine being. And let's see what happens. Verse 26, and he said, Let me go, for the day breaks. But Jacob said, I will not let you go unless you bless me. First he was wrestling, fighting with him. And now suddenly when he realized that he is not a mere man, he is someone divine, maybe an angel. So suddenly he cleaves to him and asked him to bless him. He doesn't leave him. And now the heart of the story in verse 27. So he said to him, that is the angel of the Lord, What is your name? And he said, Jacob. He just asked him one question. What is your name? And he said, my name is Jacob. Jacob means a deceiver, a supplanter, a liar. And that is what God was waiting to hear all these years from Jacob's lips. And ultimately, finally, Jacob confesses after meeting God who he really is. He confessed that I am Jacob. I am a deceiver, I am a liar. I was fighting against you all these years, but now I give up. You and I know such people today who are fighting against God, who are wrestling against God. 20 years ago, Jacob's father asked him the same question, "Who are you?" And he lied and said the time he saw. But now he's telling the truth. He's telling that I am Jacob. In God's presence, we know exactly who we are and confess it. And suddenly we find that Jacob wants a blessing. He wanted a blessing, but God wanted his confession first. Maybe you are cleaving to God for a blessing, but first he wants your confession of who you are, because the Bible says that all have sinned and come short of the glory of God. You and I have to confess that we are sinners in the sight of God, needing His grace. And then what happens? See in verse 28. And he said, "Your name shall no longer be called Jacob, but Israel, for you have struggled with God and with man, and have prevailed." The angel says that now I can bless you. Now you are ready to receive the blessing. Why? Because you have confessed who you really are. The name Jacob means supplanter and deceiver. And here we find that the angel changes his name. He says, "You will no longer be called Jacob, a deceiver, a liar, but your name shall be called Israel." Israel means God fights. God was saying to him, "So long you have been fighting and struggling with me, but now I am going to fight for you. I am going to fight your battles, because you finally gave up fighting with me. You finally gave up your lies and rebellion, and now I can bless you." Now Jacob realizes that he is in God's presence. Verse 29. Then Jacob asked, "Tell me your name, I pray." And he said, "Why is it that you ask my name?" And he blessed him there. Strange. The angel, the divine being, didn't tell his name. In fact, he asked, "Why do you want to know my name?" But he blessed him. But he changed his name. And then in verse 30 we read, "So Jacob called the name of the place Peniel. And he said, For I have seen God face to face, and my life is preserved." Jacob had an encounter with God himself. He says that I have seen God and still I am alive. I have been preserved. My life has been preserved. Now the question is, who was that divine being? Who was that angel? I personally believe he was an angel of the Lord. He was Jesus in his pre-incarnation state, because in the Bible we read in Micah 5 and verse 2, "His going forth have been from of old." Many times Jesus has visited this earth in the Old Testament times, and this was one of his visitations. Jacob had met God himself. Verses 31 and 32. Just as he crossed over Peniel, the sun rose on him, and he limped on his hip. It was dark, it was night, and it was night in his life. But after an encounter with God, the sun rose upon him. There was a dawn, there was a sunshine. But one thing happened, that he began to limp on his hip. How could he face his angry brother Jacob, Esau, coming with 400 of his men? Jacob is afraid, and moreover now he is limping. He has no way except to depend upon God. He can't fight with him. And later in the story when we read, God had taken care of Esau. These two brothers met, and it was a great meeting. It was not a fight, but a blessed time. Now, what are the lessons that we learn from this story for today? First lesson is to be left alone with God is the only way of self-discovery. You can discover who you really are only when you come into God's presence, only when you are alone with God. And that is the only way we really know who we really are in God's presence. You are not what your friends think you are. You are not what your family thinks you are or what you think of yourself. You are really what God thinks you are. You really know who you are only when you are in God's presence. Not only what the church thinks you are. Jacob knew who he really was only when he was in God's presence. So the first lesson is to be left alone with God is the only way of self-discovery. The second lesson that we learn from this story is Jacob tried to manage God all his life, but he learned that night that he couldn't. He tried to manage God. He thought God will look over his mistakes. But ultimately that night he learned that he couldn't manage God. He thought he could win with God. And sometimes we think, as Jacob, that we can manage God and we can win. We can still try to get a blessing with God. But that is not true. Jacob thought that he could manage with God and get a blessing, but he could not. He had to surrender. He had to confess. And that is the reason the angel asked him, "What is your name?" He changed his name from Jacob to Israel. And the third lesson, Jacob began fighting but ended up clinging to God. He was wrestling, he was fighting God all his life. And that night also he wrestled with the angel of the Lord, with God himself. But one touch from that angel crippled him. And that one touch, he realized that he was not fighting with a mere man, but with God himself. And therefore he began clinging to him instead of fighting with him. We cling to him for grace. Maybe today that you may be fighting against God, struggling against God. But one touch from him will change you forever. Jacob found in the end that he cannot win, so he clung to him. When we discover that we cannot fight God and win, we begin clinging to him. We confess our faults, who we really are, and that is where it really begins. Think of Apostle Paul. He was fighting against God before becoming an apostle, before Jesus called him. He was fighting against the church, against his people. But finally, later on, we see the same Saul became Paul. God changed his name from Saul to Paul. Not only his name, but his life and his nature forever. And later on, instead of fighting against God, Paul was clinging to him all throughout his life. God blessed him by touching him. And sometimes we need to learn with a limp. We need to live to learn with a limp. Sometimes God cripples us, paralyzes us. He breaks us in the area where we need to be broken. Maybe because it is our pride. Maybe because it is our physical strength or whatever. Whatever we pride in, God touches that point and cripples us. And the rest of his life, Jacob had to live with a limp. He learned that he can't do things himself. He had to lean upon God. God blessed Jacob, but you know how? By touching him. Sometimes we need to learn to live with a limp. Can we have such an encounter with God today? The reason is we can, but not really exactly as Jacob had, wrestling with an angel. But we can come to him, we can experience his touch in our life. One day Jesus met Simon Peter, who later on became his disciple, and he said, "You will be called Peter. Upon this rock I will build my church." Jesus changed Simon's name from Simon to Peter. Jesus changed Simon's nature and he became his disciple. He told him, "I am going to change your name," and he called him a rock, that is Peter. The same God who renamed Jacob also renamed Peter and changed him. And that same God can change you too. So the question is, are you willing to confess that you are a sinner in God's sight, needing His grace? If you do, you will have an encounter with God and your life will be changed forever. May the Lord bless you.